if you think it's been too long, it's too late, it's just like, no, it's no point. You made a mistake. You think that it's like this has gone way over and you just crossed the line, or that the deadline's gone, or that this just seems impossible, that you miss your opportunity. Get ready for this success story, because it is so wonderful. It made me so happy when I read the success story, because it just shows you again and again that nothing is impossible with God. Welcome. My name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you live a life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, go to RoseyLife.com, or you can join the Rosey Life course and community, where we have we're pushing almost, I think we're close to almost 100 members in the community, and it's so cool, you guys. I love it, because I'm seeing a lot of the questions come in, and you know what my favorite part is that all of these members in there, they're there to support you. So even if I don't have to have that moment to come during the week to answer a question, I know you guys are solid, because the people in there, they have wonderful, helpful, encouraging suggestions and ways to look at things differently. And that's what I'm watching, and that's what I wanted to happen in that community, is for all of you to be a part of a community that you wanted to be in, that was private and it was in public, and so you can just feel comfortable talking about whatever it is that you wanted. So either way, if you're interested in, hey, I love all the comments that you guys have here on YouTube. This success story, by the way, is coming from a comment on one of my YouTube videos, and that's what we're going to talk about today. It is truly amazing and wonderful. And if you are feeling down and you feel like you're not seeing movement, man, do I got some success stories lined up for you. Not only this one, but other ones coming up too in more videos. But for now, I really wanted to highlight this video, because I think it's important to have, if you guys notice, I have different success stories. It's not just about money, not just about SP or health or anything. It's just everything. I've talked about health and mental health. I've talked about money, career, jobs, persons, friends, family. We talk about everything, because I want to point out that it really doesn't matter. I used to think that it was different to manifest an SP or money or career or health, and it's not different, because it's only you saying that's different or harder or easier or bigger or smaller. It's only you, because remember, that power within you doesn't care if you plug in a Tesla or a toaster in it. That is that I am. That is the God, your I am within you. It just says yes to everything. And so take away that this is different, that's harder, this is easier, and how do you deal with it, and go within to your I am, just like we're going to talk about in this video. So here is the success story from the subscriber. She says, for 10 years, I had no contact. You guys, 10 years. I'm not saying that it's going to take you 10 years for you to get what you want. She didn't move for 10 years in consciousness, okay? She hadn't moved in consciousness. This is why it took 10 years, because she didn't believe it was possible. She, at the beginning, she said, for 10 years, I had no contact with a sibling and his wife. The relationship was as worse as it could get. So she said it was bad. This relationship, it ended badly. There must have been a big blowout. It was not good. So that's why she backed off, and she's like, you know what? That just went too far. There's just no coming back from that one. How many of you feel that way in your situation? Comment that below. How many of you feel that it's just too far, it went too far, and there's no comeback from that? There's just no way you can come back from that horrible situation, whether it was with them or you did it or both you did it or whatever it is you think is just way too far gone. That is what she said. These were her conditions. So you think about what your conditions are, okay? But these were her conditions. 10 years, and it was not a good thing. Okay, for it to have gone that long, she really must have thought it was really too far gone. So those were her conditions. But what is always the next step? Recognize your conditions, look at what it is, and then, but what's the solution? You're the walking solution. You always are the solution. And so what is the solution? She says, what do I want? That is where you begin to shift. When you say, okay, that's what it is, but what do I want? That was the next step. So she said, I imagined the impossible possible. I love this. Okay, so I imagined my sibling and his wife. So she's explaining to us what technique she used. So in all of them work, okay? Doesn't mean that because she used this one that you have to use this one too. You can use any technique that you like. Some people love writing, some people love scripting or visualizing, affirming, whatever it is, okay? Remember, it's not the technique. She found the Rosey Life, and she started understanding. She's like, wait, I can have anything that I want. And I don't have to hold on. The time is irrelevant here. I can do this now. I can move now. So she says, I imagine the impossible possible. I imagine my sibling and his wife smiling at me, saying they love me and hugging me. So that was her imaginal act. That's what she desired. She says, what do I want? I don't like this. She's like, what do I want? And she says, this is what I want. I want them smiling at me, telling me they love me, and hugging me. So she said, so that's what she did. She said, a month later, so remember, she did this, and this began unfolding over the course of a month. So it didn't happen instantly. She's saying right there, 10 years waiting, but then she said, that's it. And she started imagining her wish fulfilled. And a month later, she says, things began to unfold. So she said, it happened. It happened. I entered, this is so good, you guys. I entered a restaurant. It was over 200 miles away from our homes. In other words, she went to a restaurant. She walked into a crowded restaurant that was over 200 miles away from her house and away from where her sibling lived too. Okay? So she walks into a restaurant and she said, I heard someone call my name in a crowded restaurant. It was my sibling and his wife, because she said she wanted them both. Remember? They were both smiling at me. I was in shock, she said. I was in shock. They hugged me and told me that they loved me. I love this. And I love that she wrote in here, she said, I heard someone call my name. Well, what is my name? Who is my name? It's that great I am. There is no other name. It's not, and she's talking about her 3D name, right? But what that's right there implying is, call me by my name. Is that I am, the great I am. That's who they called out. Do you see? It was her desire. It was her imaginal scene. That's who they called out. They're like, hey, they're calling out her desire, her wish fulfilled. That's what happened. And they both were there. Just like she imagined, that they both would be smiling at her, that they both would hug her and tell her that they loved her. And that is exactly what she got. What an amazing success story, you guys, because look at how she was 200 miles away. What were the chances of her being there? There's no coincidence here, you guys, that they were there, she was there, and both 200 miles away from where they lived. I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. So again, when they called her out, what is that? I am who and what I say I am. She had enough. And the thread of all of these success stories that I'm noticing is everyone, all of you guys are starting to say, I had enough. I'm done with waiting. I'm done with not getting what I want. I'm not going to wait anymore. I am who I say I am, and I am is now. I am who I say I am now. It doesn't matter if it's been 30 years. It doesn't matter if it's been 30 seconds. You are that now. You don't have to wait, because you declare who you are now. Do you see? I love this scripture in Revelations 22:8. It says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. That is the beginning and the end. That is who you are. That is what that great I am is saying. You're saying I am. When you say I am, you're saying I am everything. I am it. That doesn't leave anything out. So you are the beginning and you are the end. You are how things begin. That subscriber is how she knows that's how it begun, but she also knows how this is going to end. And this is going to end with them smiling at me, loving me, and hugging me. Do you see? I'm the one that chooses the ending to this story. You are the beginning and you are the end. You are the all. So for nothing will be impossible with God. That's in Luke 1:37. I love this too, because that's exactly what she did. She said, I imagined the impossible possible. For nothing will be impossible with God. So she declared it right there. I'm going to imagine that seeming impossible possible now. And she did it. She didn't care if it looked impossible. She didn't care about the conditions and how long it's been. She didn't care about the details, the sensations, the past memories, the conversations of the arguments, or all the holidays that were missed. She wasn't holding on to anything. She was like, you know what? There's only now. I am is right now, and I'm going to say how this movie ends right now. I am going to imagine the impossible possible right now, and that's what she did. So it's not how you guys say it, okay? I don't want you to get caught up in her process or her technique. It's not how you say it. It's not when you say it, because a lot of you are like, can you give me like an idea of what a typical day looks like of someone that is in the wish fulfilled, or a process or steps that I can hold on to give me an idea of what it is that you do, Rose, or what do other people do that have manifested, like what does a typical day look like? Already setting yourself up to fail right there by asking for steps, and how do you do it, and how do I feel, and what do I say, and when do I say it, and how do you say it? Do you see right there? That's showing you that you don't believe that who you are, I am, that great I am, that you are the one deciding it. And somebody commented recently and just said, can you give us like a concrete example of how to declare or how to assume? When you are speaking, you are declaring. When you are talking, you are declaring. When you say I am anything, you are declaring. Your words are declarations. Whatever you say, even if you don't feel it or you feel it, it doesn't matter. When you declare something, you are making an assumption. There's no like formal way. It's literally the process is you speaking, it's you being, it's you imagining, it's you talking, you assuming, you declaring, just like she did. She imagined that was a declaration. Her imaginal act of seeing her sibling hug her and saying I love you and smiling at her, that was an assumption. That was a declaration. So whether you script it, you write it, you affirm, you say it out loud, you say it, you sing it when you're in the shower. I don't care. Some people draw it. Some people, I have a friend that he was an actor, a stage actor, and he acts out his wish fulfilled, his end scene. He acts it out by himself. Do you see it? It really doesn't matter what you use. It's just your intention behind it, it's like, what are you trying to say? Like, what's the point of you acting it out? What's the point of you saying this? Like, what are you trying to get at? Who is it that you say you are? Do you see? That's the whole thing. So when you speak, it is a declaration. When you assume, it's a declaration. When you affirm, it's a declaration. All of it is a declaration. But it doesn't matter how you say it. It doesn't matter when you say it. What matters, it's like, it's knowing you are it. When you speak, you are it. Remember, for nothing will be impossible with God. If you're just running around talking and rambling things, you're powerful, but you don't even know it. But then a lot of you say, well, I'm a millionaire. Where's my money? I don't see it. It's not in my bank account. Where is it, Rose? I don't see it. If this is true, then how come everybody's not billionaires? Because they're trying to do it from their own point of 3D. They're thinking of their willpower and their thoughts, and that's all that's going to take. Remember, you're not doing this alone. You're only having to choose it, and then you remember that you and God are one, and that your higher self, God within you, is doing the unfolding through you, for you. So, and if you're just like, well, I should snap my fingers and there it should be. I don't see the $1 billion in my bank account right now. Do you see what you're doing? You're not even remembering that you are it, that you have it, that it's all you, and that you and God are one. And so all that power within you is unfolding it through you as like, for example, it's flowing through me as Rose. I'm going to unfold. I'm going to be led, inspired to think thoughts, to move, to go here, to do something, to watch something, to read something, to eat something. Do you see? As me, God is leading me as me. He does the unfolding, or my higher self, she does the unfolding. However you want to talk about feminine, masculine, it doesn't really matter, because that power is not gender. It's just God. It's power. It's all absolute power. And I wanted to share a couple of examples of why it doesn't matter how you say it, because if you're getting caught up with how you're saying it, when you say it, what time of day you say it, do you do it in past tense, present tense, future tense? Does it matter? Can it impact what you get? Do you have to feel something? Do you have to believe it? What if I don't feel it? I'm going to give you two really good examples. The first one is the chips and salsa story. So I love this story so much, okay, because I was out to lunch, or late lunch, with my brother last week or something, and we were at a Mexican restaurant. And mind you, he's not on the manifesting bandwagon yet, but he's getting there because I'm watching him. Okay, so we're at a Mexican restaurant that neither of us have ever been to, and we're sitting there, and we love Mexican food, and we've been eating really good Mexican food since we're little. We're from San Diego, okay, so we know what's Mexican food is up, okay. But anyway, so we go to this new Mexican restaurant in Chicago, and we sit down, and my brother loves his chips and salsa, and he notices on the menu that chips and salsa are not included, that you have to pay for your chips, and if you want salsa, you have to pay for the salsa. He was mad. He would not stop complaining about the chips and salsa, you guys. I said, just don't order it then. I said, we're going to eat a lot of food with our meal. And he said, no, it's not possible. You come to a Mexican restaurant, I expect to have chips and salsa. It's part of the experience of coming. This is ridiculous. And he said, but it's more ridiculous that they're charging. He says, I don't believe that you have to pay for chips and salsa. That's just a given that you get it when you go to a Mexican restaurant. It's like, what is this? He's like, we've been to hundreds of Mexican restaurants and we've never paid for chips and salsa. He's like, I don't know what the heck this is. This must be some new trend and another way for them to make money. He was mad, you guys. He was complaining, and I just got quiet. And I said, and then he finally just ordered it because he refused to have an experience at the Mexican restaurant without his chips and salsa. Okay, I could care less. All right, so I'm just watching him. We eat our food, we eat our food, then our checks come. And I'm looking at my check, he's looking at his check, and he said, did they put the chips and salsa on your tab? And I look and I said, no. And he said, they didn't put it on my tab either. And he said, I got it for free. And I said, yes, you did, because you said you don't believe in paying for chips and salsa, and you were sure. I don't believe this. That's what he said. He didn't pay for it. Stick with me. Here's another example. And I have this other client who she had student loan debt. And I think I might have mentioned her in this video, in another video, several months back. But it reminded me of chips and salsa because she had a student loan debt. I think it was like $60,000, $80,000 or something. And when she was working with me, she was working about other things, about relationship or business and some other things. But she had mentioned to me a couple times about her student loan. But the only thing she would ever say about her student loans to me, she says, I'm getting the manifesting thing, I'm understanding it. And she says, I have the student loan. She says, but I don't believe in paying for an education. I don't believe that I should have to pay for an education at all. And she says, I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. And she was a nurse. And she said, especially because I'm a nurse, she says, I don't think anyone should have to pay for education. She says, other countries in the world don't have to pay for it. She says, I just don't believe it. And I'm a public servant. I don't believe I should have to pay for it. And she was like insistent. She sounded like my brother. She's like, I don't believe I have to pay for it. I don't believe it. She says, I'll keep making my payments. And she did. She continued to make her monthly payments to that student loan. She was responsible for her manifestation, for her creation. She says, but I don't believe I have to pay for this. I shouldn't have to pay for this. And anytime she brought up the student loan, that's all she would say about it. It wasn't like, I hate it, I can't afford it. She wasn't happy with it, but she had a strong knowing. She knows no, I don't have to pay for that. So guess what? She opens up her student loan portal, and one day, out of the blue, and it's gone. It got zeroed out. The debt was completely gone. And she said, Rose, I did that. And I said, yes, you did. So whether it's $60,000, $80,000 or chips and salsa, God doesn't see the difference between $80,000 and free chips and salsa. Do you get this? It's not the size. You're making it a size. You're making one thing as a bigger deal than the other. You're saying, oh, because it's health. Oh, because it's money. Oh, because it's a job. Oh, because it's a child. Oh, because you're a single mom. Oh, because. God doesn't see the oh, because or oh, but. God only sees that there is fulfillment and is waiting for you to declare it, knowing that it is all yours. The kingdom is within you. So what do these have in common, including this subscriber story? They both had conviction, certainty. They had certainty that they can't, and you know what it feels like to talk to these two especially, is like you cannot, I'm telling you guys, because this one's my brother and the other one was a client. There's no way. You cannot convince either of them otherwise. There's no way that I could have convinced her that she had to pay that. There's no way that I convinced him that he had to pay for those chips and salsa. There is no convincing them. And that, my friends, is a perfect example of yesterday's video of the mustard seed. That a mustard seed only knows it's a mustard seed. It doesn't think it's a cat. It doesn't think it's charged chips and salsa. It doesn't think it's a student loan. It just knows it's a mustard seed. She only knew that she was debt free. He only knew that he doesn't pay for chips and salsa, and there's no convincing them otherwise. That is that standing in your conviction. It's not feeling it, and it's not feeling like, oh, I have to feel it. It's like, no, you just cannot turn that off. It is like, no, it's fact. Do you see? And especially my brother, he bitched and complained the whole time in the restaurant. He was not a happy camper about having to pay for the chips and salsa. Finally, he was happy, when we're eating and so we're chatting. But I'm just saying, he wasn't in a good mood. He wasn't high vibing. He wasn't feeling himself. She wasn't feeling herself with the student loan. She was like annoyed that she had to pay that every month. She's like, whatever. She's like, I have to pay for it. She's like, I don't believe it. I don't believe I have to pay for it. She was annoyed to see that. Do you see? It's not about feeling good. It's not about, oh, I got to align my vibration and feel good to the person that is debt free or the person that gets free chips and salsa. Here's proof. So, no rules. Stop making rules about you have to feel something or that you have to use a present tense. They didn't say, I'm the person that always gets free chips and salsa. I'm the person that is always dead. No. Do you see? They didn't do that. That is a way you can do it. You can say it that way. But they just said, I don't believe it. No, I refuse it. Nope, I don't believe it. That was their process. That was their technique. Do you see? So there are no rules on how to manifest. There are no rules. There's no facts. That subscriber, 10 years. Look at her conditions. The time, 10 years. The circumstances of the arguing, of how ugly it ended, or how difficult it would be, or who's going to call who first. All those conditions, the distance where they lived. Do you see? No facts. There's no facts. There's no fiction. There's no facts. There's no fiction. There's no limits. There's no limits to what you can have, be, or do. There's only the limits that you put on yourself with your own beliefs, your own rules, your own conditions, and your own clinging onto facts. And this is how it is. Because really, all of you guys, there's only one cause, and that is I am. That is it. Nothing else. I am is the only cause. You are the cause of it all. You are the one that has a power to shift and change anything in your life simply by assuming and standing in that conviction. And when you guys want to remind yourself of what that means, remember that one, there's no rules. And look at these two stories, the chips and salsa and the student loan. They just refuse to believe that anything else was theirs but that experience or that which they wanted. All right, my loves, thank you for subscribing to The Rosey Life. Thank you guys so much for liking the videos, and thank you for your love and support. I'm I feel so honored and blessed to be here with you guys and do these videos and work with you guys one-on-one. I really do. I love your stories. Keep them coming, and I'll keep sharing them with all of you because you guys are just really so freaking amazing, and I love it. I love hearing your success stories, and I know all of you are a massive success because you are all perfect, whole and complete right now, always have been, and you always will be. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.